Aloha no kako. My name is Keoni Kealoha Alvarez. I'm the great-great-grandson of Joseph Lono Kahikolo and Kealoha Lapaku Kau'i. It's been 10 long years since I returned to this place. It is a secret that I held for so long. Culturally, this place is Kapu, sacred. I'm just creating this trail. So we're kind of heading more towards that direction.
I have 5 sons, and Keoni is the youngest of the 5. He was a very good child. He loves animals of all kinds. He always found things to do. Out of all my children, he was the most creative.
When I was 8 years old, my brothers discovered a cave in the forest near our home. They discovered human skeletal remains. Archaeologists positively identified the remains as ancient Hawaiians.
As kids, at first, we were scared of the burial site. Keoni took it a notch further, and he realized that when we were older that it's not something to be scared about, it's something to take care of and watch over it.
With development booming on the Big Island, the Puna district is primed for progress. But some native Hawaiians say it's running roughshod over ancestral remains.
If we knew that it wasn't flagged, it would have given us enough time to preserve this site.
The story of a young man trying to protect an ancient burial site next to his Big Island home.
He's guarding something more valuable than treasure, more precious than gold.
And construction everywhere. Hawaiians fear every time a lot is cleared, another burial cave is destroyed.
Burials were sacred. Burials were important. When a person dies, their corpse remains, but their spirit takes another journey.
Hawaiian burial traditions are never the same. The ceremony depends on the family practices, status, local surroundings, and even the circumstances of how a person died. Hawaiians use several different burial methods. If the ground was dirt, a pit was dug. But if the ground was solid rock, stones were stacked over the body, or in sand dunes near the ocean. Some burials were in lava tubes and in caves.
And Hawaiian laws were so clear, you knew if you were or were not a kapu breaker. The penalty for kapu breaking was death.
My worst fears came true. A for sale sign was posted in front of the burial cave property. Soon after that, the developer brought a bulldozer to move forward on breaking ground on the burial site. When I arrived there, I noticed my mother had already confronted the bulldozer operator and the developer and told them to stop immediately.
My son is already under the legal law.
I then rushed into the forest. The only thing that ran through my mind was to make sure that our ancestors was protected and wasn't desecrated by this bulldozer. I always get choked up but I just told him that if he lands that bulldozer on this property, I can call the cops and he's gonna get arrested for desecrating our burial. So it's so hard, that people just don't understand what it means, what our kupunas mean to us, And for me, I just know that once you bulldoze the site, 2 swipes on this little piece of property, it's gone, and it's gone forever.
This is a cultural thing. And if you don't understand that, you need to learn the culture of Hawaii and how our people feel about their kupuna ibis.
I have no problems with that.
I'm trying to tell you, I don't know what in the world about your realtor, but they're supposed to know there is boundaries that you cannot overgo. You cannot overstep certain boundaries. That whole place is boundaries.
The land developer then halted his project. I needed to move quickly to stop the developer from moving forward with breaking ground on the burial cave property. So I researched online and I found a person whose name is Pali Kapu Deadman. And he was involved in protecting a mass burial ground in 1989 against the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua Hotel.
It's been said that there are a lot of times that bones have been taken out in the past, and up to a point there have been bones taken up here. And the thing is that we have watched it, and at this time we can no longer stand it. As Hawaiians, we feel that our bones cannot be taken out anymore, and we are not going to allow this to happen anymore. And it took this case, it took the finding of this many bones here, the disinterment of 870 bones, for us to come to that realization that we have to take a stand and stop this from happening here on Maui, on Hawaii, on Oahu, on Kauai, wherever it happens. We have to stop the state from giving permits to developers to take our bones out. We don't want them out, and we want these bones here returned.
We speak for thousands of years of Hawaiians before and thousands to come. Regardless of what the other nationalities may think, we as Hawaiians think this is sacrilegious. It's against our traditional beliefs, and it has to stop.
Pali, we're here at Honokahua, and how do you remember this place? Do you remember?
None of this was here when we were here protesting. It was just brand new ground being opened up with the barrels inside. But the dooms were there, and it was like facing the beach.
Just go walk a little bit.
Yeah, well, that wasn't here. There was a lot of things not here.
Okay.
This is an area that is not open for walking on unless you have permission from certain people. Do you have permission already from those people?
My ancestors.
I'm sorry, sir. It's our job to ask that people don't walk on this area unless they've been given permission from the person who is the caretaker of this area.
And it's a family's job to come look at our family.
I understand that, but I don't know who you are. So
Well, I'm a Hawaiian, look.
it's just my job.
This is my job. I'm over here. That's over there. That's your job. Oh, the ignorant people, man. I mean, how far we've come from that time to now. You know? Does she know that we were here stopping her from digging us up? She doesn't know that. She doesn't really know the real meaning of this. Why doesn't she know? Your cultural specialist who's in charge of culture is not orientation to this lady about who we are and how we should be treated. That's not a specialist. It's a guy, just a job opportunity, man. Because he's got a job, he's got brown skin, he got a brown skin name, he's an expert.
I listened to Pali at Honokahua as he shared with me the burials he saw at the desecrated burial site.
But it was very desecrating and bad feelings because you would see little pieces of tarps, and if you lift up the tarp, there was a skull or there was some bones, and they were all over the place. So what the archaeologists did was hire everybody he could, amateur archaeologists, part-time job, anybody that was in the field, or get done his job or his contract before we came. There was so much EV that he couldn't do it. Look how many people he hired. I mean, they stopped at 1,200. How much was more left in there? So it was a major burial site.
I feel our ancestors crying out. I cannot see the children being dug up like this. I cannot see our people, our ancestors being dug up like this. How? Can you see your grandparents and your families being dug up? We don't go to your grave sites and dig up your families and take your jewelry and take all your possessions, all your private possessions out and put them in your museums to show the tourists.
And you know, the barrels we're talking about is not Western contact or the church is responsible. No, these were traditional before Western man came around. So there's a different treatment and a different respect for that. It was up to us to deepen ourselves, to dig out the Hawaiianness of what that was, to stop the development and protect them. It had to take the whole moral inside to come out.
Go ahead, what's your question, please?
My question concerns, you know, you blame it on the white man on how we came over and take your land. This is America, you know.
Let me just say something to this caller. This is not America. This is Polynesia. Our country was stolen. That's one of your problems. You're ignorant, woefully ignorant. But you, caller, need to learn about Hawaiian history and about where you are. You think you are in America. You are not in America. You are in a colony that is in Polynesia that was forcibly taken, just as, I might add, all of Eastern Europe was forcibly taken by the Soviet Union, which Americans think is a very, very bad place. The bad, bad Soviet Union. Well, the bad, bad United States of America took Puerto Rico, it took Alaska, it stole Indian land, it took Hawaii, it took Guam, it took Micronesia, Palau, and you had better learn that history because you are the recipient of an imperialist tradition.
I visited a place called the Hawaii State Archives. It's known to hold the largest Hawaiian collection of historical photographs, government records, and laws of Hawaii's history.
So Keoni was interested and he asked me if there were any laws on burials in Hawaii. And since I didn't know for sure, I had a researcher look for us. And this is the laws of 1860. If any person not having legal right to do so shall willfully dig up, disinter, remove, or convey away any human body from any burial place shall be punished by imprisonment at hard labor for not more than 2 years or by a fine not exceeding $1,000. $1,000 in 1860 was a lot of money. So obviously that this was a heinous crime and they had to make sure that they put enough of a fine and time imprisonment so that people would not do it.
The American Army, military, and even the Air Force has used Hawaiian sacred places as their target practice. The island of Ko'olave has been bombed for several decades by the United States Air Force, which destroyed many burials and historical sites on the island. Sacred valleys of Kapu on the island of Oahu and Pohakuloa on Hawaii Island have been used as an Army military training. During their training, the use of trucks and tanks trampled over many burial grounds. Our highest peaks such as Mauna Kea and Haleakala are sacred places in Hawaii. On these mountains, it holds the remains of the ancient Hawaiian ancestors.
I never did do this kind of march before. This is my first march, and it's basically protecting all rights of Hawaiians, whether it be about Hawaiian burial sites, sacred places, the Mauna.
Hawaiians and Hawaiian royalty from across the islands unite as one and protest to protect the burials and sacredness of our mountains.
You know, it's not Hawaiians reside in America, it's America reside in our Hawaii. This is our country and we will live and die free in our country. Aloha is ours. Aloha is not theirs, aloha is not foreign, aloha is ours. Yep. And with us, aloha is actually make. That's why aloha is make. Because how can we live aloha when they taking our aloha?
This is Araina. My ohana is resting in the ground. Please, keep them in peace. Desecration is not correct. Please, don't disturb them. Don't disturb their bones.
And the state and the county allowed this to happen. So bad, they even destroy our burials to put the house on. With all the land they have, 47 acres. Why is it they allowed to be on a cemetery of our iwi kupuna, our ancestors' bones? I'm very uluhua, disgusting of our government allowing this to happen.
Things that already that stayed buried should be left alone already. It's Kapu.
This is not the first time I've been up against this man. He moved my kupuna to put a septic tank. He's trying to control our culture. And in the way of controlling our culture, he is ruining our graveyards. Cemetery, just like in your culture. Burial sites is the same thing. Walk away from it.
That's the killer. And I'm just saying, as one species, like every other species, I like stay who I am as long as I can. Because that was my purpose in this universe, like everybody say they get their purpose. Oh, mine is to stay Hawaiian as long as I can be one. And if it takes me standing up for it, then I gotta do it. And if it takes me to tell another Hawaiian he wrong, I'll tell him. And if you let me half-step carrying for an Hawaiian, I ain't gonna do that. I'm going 100% all the time. So that's what you scared dealing with. It's the 100% brother, not the 50, not the half, okay? I'm not half a glass, and that's what I think a lot of Hawaiians are. It's not their fault, but bruh, you know how fast you can turn on light up and down on a switch? Just turn your switch on, bruh. That's how fast it is. Just turn them on. You're in your own house and you don't know how to act. And you let other people run your house, especially the EV. I'm not talking about on stereo or my car. I'm talking about these moral things that every race respect the most is their ancestors.
The knowledge that I gained from my elders have taught me how sacred our Hawaiian burials are in Hawaii. So I took my one-man campaign online. The knowledge that I gained from my elders about burials has allowed me to share my story and to share our burial practices. Preservationists in Hawaii and in the United States learned about my one-man campaign online. This opportunity allowed me to be on TV shows, the radio, schools, and colleges, to people who were interested in what I did and how I learned it. I even made it into National Geographic.
And the power of the internet and getting the word out.
Good for you, Keoni. You know,
I received a letter in the mail from a realty company. It was shocking news to me. It mentions in this letter that the landowner of the burial cave property recently passed away. I could not believe what I was reading.
I'm happy to say now he is the owner of that burial cave today.
You know, I just knew that was something that needed to be protected, and that's part of our kuleana or our responsibility as Hawaiian people to perpetuate that and continue that. Today I'm very happy of the accomplishments that I've done. Over the years I preserved one burial site, and then I preserved another burial site, and just recently I preserved a third. So I'm very happy preserving their burial sites and keeping it sacred. And this goes for the future generation. And that's kind of what my legacy is to make sure and ensure that our ancestors are going to be protected forever.
For him to educate people and for him to, you know, teach me and educate me just makes us all like really appreciate where we're from.
Looking back on this journey, I feel good about myself to be able to be the guardian of our burial cave ever since I was 8 years old. Today is a special day to be able to move forward in my life now that the burial cave is safe under my protection. This kahea or calling is special. It is a gift that I'll continue to pass on to my ohana and the next generation. I have committed myself, like our people have done for over 2,000 years, protecting our Hawaiian burials, ensuring that our ancestors will remain hidden, sacred, and kapu in Hawaii.